Hi, this is Jaromir again, and today I will show you how to fix your S2D cluster if something goes really wrong, like if you lose one of the node operating system, or even if you lose all operating system from all nodes. So this is one of the scenarios, so where you'll find it. Currently I'm in the dev branch because this one was not committed into the main branch, to the master branch. So I will just navigate into the scenarios. And there is S2D Disaster Recovery. In this case, what I will be using is the default scenario where you have 4-node S2D clusters, so let's explore it. So there is Failover Cluster Manager. There is our S2D cluster here. We have several machines there, right? So it's the default configuration where you have 8 disks. On each disk you have 3 machines. Then you have storage. You can see that there is mirror and mirror accelerated parity. In mirror you can see that the path is renamed, so it matches the virtual disk name or volume name, or how we call it now. Networks, management, and SMB network with virtual network adapters. So this is converged networking. And now let's lose first node. So we will just follow the README in this scenario. As you can see, we have some lab config. Actually, I'm using now the standard lab config, so let's extend it. Extended it with a new SVM and then also with new S2D VMs. So you can do either just copy everything from here and just replace entire lab config, but as soon as these 2 lines are already in the lab config, we can just add these 2 lines just to extend the scenario. So let me open up the lab config in the notepad and then just add these 2 lines. Super simple. I'll just save it and run deploy again. This will effectively expand the lab. So it will detect the lab is already running and it will extend it. So what I will do now is I will simulate 1 node failure. So I'll just stop 1 VM. So let me run the 1 additional PowerShell window. And I will paste here a script. 1 line, which will effectively stop 1 VM, this one. Let's take a look into the S2D cluster. It should soon fail. All the VMs, if it would be running on this node, would fail over into the other nodes, while disk will stay online. Disks should move soon. So we should soon see that all disks on the node 1 will be moved to different node. As soon this glue admin will recognize that the node is offline. Should be soon. Maybe we will have to hit refresh, as the console may not notice. So node is down, disks will be changed soon, hopefully. Let me just refresh. Come on, Mr. Glue Admin. Let's open up the Glue Admin again. It'll be safer. So let's connect to the cluster. Oh, we have it here. Anyway, so the storage should be owned by different nodes. So it moved automatically. Okay, so let's see what happens. So also you can notice the disks missing as in the guide. So let's open up the pool, and in the pool you should see that several disks are in missing state. So the next step will be to replace the hard drive. So we will replace the hard drive in S2D1 with the hard drive from the new OS So effectively we will just reinstall the OS. These machines are just the placeholders because, oh, not the placeholders, but we will just use the VHDs from them, and we will use this VHD and put it into the the node where we already have VHDs. So let me open up the host PowerShell and paste this piece of the code that will just switch the hard drive. So in S2D1 now, which is now turned on, there'll be new VHD, which is domain joined, so it easily simulates the OS reinstall. So this is S2D1 new OS. We'll wait for this node to boot. And then what we will have to do is we will need to run the very same script as with S2D, but we will just replace variable service with this one. We can replace it by just writing new line in between the lab config and region install new features for management, which is effectively not doing anything because the management features are already there. So let me just write this line here. So we will add service equals S2D1 new OS. And we'll just paste view first. So we'll just configure networking and basic setting on service. So I'll just copy these lines. We'll check if the machine booted properly. This is the one. It's still booting, so let's wait a little bit. So it should boot any second. Oh, it is here. Great. So let's, yeah, it's great. It worked. So let's copy these scripts and just paste it here. So it will basically configure the new server the same way as it was configured on the old one. The benefit of having these scripts is that you can bring up your environment pretty fast if anything happens. So let's wait a little bit, or actually I will pause the... no, let's wait. It should be fast, so let's wait so you can track down the time which is needed to reinstall one node. So as you can see, the features are being installed. The machine will reboot. After rebooting the machine, the Hyper-V switch will be created, and then virtual NICs will be added, and basically after that the node will be ready to join the cluster again. So now the machine is being restarted, so let's check it. You can watch this small window So the machine is already booted. Sometimes it happens that because we need two reboots, this PowerShell, this script will be able to join to the VM itself, and then it will think it's rebooted, while the machine will still need a reboot. But it actually looks like it. Oh, it's rebooting. So let me pause it. That's why there is a sleep, 20 seconds. So I will just sleep it by just marking the piece of the PowerShell code. And now the machine is back online. So that's why this start sleep 20 is here. So let me just right click to the PowerShell just to resume it. Now the virtual switch is being created. So it should not take so much time. Let's see. So the connection will interrupt because new switch is created. In the real world scenarios, if you create a virtual switch, you may want to use the one IP address you would like to have assigned for the server. So you would first create a switch with a one network adapter where you have the IP address you want, and then add the second adapter. Effectively, what it means that you will copy the MAC address from the first adapter. Ultimately, you may want to use static IP addresses, but if you have reliable HTTP, there is no reason not to use the HTTP assigned IP addresses. So it should reconnect. Yeah, it's reconnected. So now it will just configure a Hyper-V load balancing algorithm. I added this recently to use Hyper-V port, as we use Hyper-V port by default in 1709. It's just for compatibility. And also some switches may be overloaded by, switching their tables because they need to keep the MAC tables. And if it's switching from one port to another port, some switches tends to freak out. Okay, so this node is configured, so now we can add this node to the cluster itself. So let's add cluster node and a new one and remove the old one, and let's see what will happen. So we started adding one of the nodes, so the new one node should be added, and the second node will be removed. So let me move the window here so we can see both actions, what's happening. And soon we should see it here. Node is now here. It will be soon up and running, and we'll remove the old one. I will just switch to the pool just to see the missing disks. We can notice then the disk numbers. Not sure which ones are missing, but soon there should be new ones appearing. So I guess it will be something 20. Let's see. Let's see what the disk numbers it will be. So actually now all disks are healthy. The numbers were probably 40 something. 40. Oh, come on. Refresh. Not again. I don't want to start glue admin again. Physical disks. Come on. Show yourself. Yeah. Okay. It's here. So yeah. So yeah, 40 250 something. So these are the disks that disappeared and reappeared again. So it was pretty simple. This was just demonstrating that if something goes wrong, if you have a bunch of scripts, you can easily reinstall the operating system and reconfigure it back. And also, if you have the data disks and put it back, it will be recognized by the cluster itself. So let me just show you nodes. So this should be soon removed. As you can notice, the fault domains are not properly configured as we used a different name. Therefore, what I will do is modify fault domains like this. And we should see now that new OS is in Seattle and is in rec 01. This is just for description. This is cosmetic. It's nothing nice. It does nothing to the functionality because the default full domain awareness is node, or actually storage scale unit, which is a node. Therefore, this is more or less documentation. So this was it, and in the next video I will show you what will happen if you lose all operating systems from all nodes.